I feel like I'm favoring Horde to take this one. I really like their draft. This is really, really strong. The downside to it is that you don't have the strongest lockdown in the world for Storm Spirit. It comes down to Mr. Pablo. If Pablo has a decent game, like, it's very scary. If Pablo has a decent game, and we'll get ready to hop into this one. Game number 2, Horde facing off against Solitude. They are going to move down here, block off that camp, mister. You don't want to allow CM to just get her farm. He might, yeah, he's going to place it over here, I'm sure. Or he's just not going to do that. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Clearly he has a better idea. I trust in Kefka. I casted a couple of games with this guy a long time ago, when he was on Princess Jalopy still. And a very accomplished offlane player. We're going to see Ake move down as well, place himself a ward. This is not going to get scouted out, thankfully. EGM was able to place one as well. So it looks like with this ward, they're more heavily prioritizing spotting out the vision of the jungle, as well as, does this give them vision over towards the Roche pit, or over towards the, this is actually a pretty great ward. Does this actually see all the way to that? Does it? No, it's morphling with that vision. So the problem I am seeing right now is that EGM is going to have pretty nice access to this camp, which allows him to get his level 2 and then start to apply some harassment to Kefka if he wants to go that route. And it looks like Jonas is actually going to try and lane this. That's pretty scary. If he does get up here and pull the creep wave back, that would be really good. Oh, and they got a one-on-one lane with Solitude as well. Yeah, I really like this decision. Excalibur going into the mid as the morph lane. He took morph as well, so he's got the 400 HP, which is pretty scary to go against. But Limp is going to have to deal with now this dual lane of Ake and Limp, where he's not going to get as much experience as he would want. They're sacrificing creeps. Excalibur is going to take some damage from this, and this actually hurts a little bit. So Limp so far doing a good job of pulling that creep wave past, so Excalibur has to tank him. And that does kind of suck for him at the start. His Hanskin already taken some damage. Might be in trouble. They did get off the frostbite to keep him alive. Oh man, but the fact that they're being this aggressive and CM is going to be contained to level 1 for this long. Oh man, this really hurts. The ward is not blocking this out. They're going to be able to get a decent amount of the start here. But yeah, EGM, if you don't have that level 2 by early on, this is going to be a very difficult lane for him. A very difficult game as a whole, honestly. Because normally what you would do is just, you know, frostbite one of the large creeps at the very beginning, then you stack the camp, go in, frostbite a second one, and then you get your level 2. Everybody gets healed up, or not healed up, everybody gets that extra bit of mana regeneration. But as it stands now, they're going to have to bring Hanskin over here, and this sticks the CM into this lane. She does finally get it, and we'll be able to maybe level a bit more harassment out against Pablo. This ward here helping out a lot. And he should realize that something's up. Meanwhile, top lane, Timbersaw versus Slardar. Jonas is getting a lot out of this lane so far, which is nice. But this probably should transition into helping out the Timbersaw more later. Probably end up being from as Ake is going to take a nice bit of right-clicks Handskin. Applying that pressure. Excalibur is going to have to back out as well. Drow Ranger lineup already securing themselves a bit of a nice start. Although, Morphwing is still ahead of the Storm Spirit, 9-1 versus the 7-0. And with the rotation out, it looks like Kefka's just going to be content to try and take down some of these jungle camps as well. This is the Kunkka illusion that Pablo trying to sneak it away and made them think that he was not mid when in fact he was. But it doesn't really end up bearing fruit as they weren't able to find any type of kill onto. So again, these little movements here. You can see the dual lane is working really well for Horde. 17-1 for the Timbersaw up top. You've got the Morphling that's getting pretty good farm mid, and then the whole time through, Loda is still being at least somewhat harassed to the point where there's little bits of CS there, here and there. Taken back into his favor. I do like this play though, and Solitude in some trouble, actually gets bashed as well. 10% chance. Oh, that's good. Jonas looking for a bit more. Can he find it? And it doesn't look like it's gonna happen, but 10% bash, not bad at all. Got Kefka and Pablo in the area. They do have level 2 now on Kunkka. Opts to put more into the Torrent, which is again a bit of an interesting reaction. They're gonna hit onto Loda now, and we'll be able to push the lane with the Ion Shell relatively soon, I'm sure. But yeah, a very great start, I would say, for Horde, especially against the Drow Ranger draft. I think that this lane is going to continue to scale into Solitude's favor. Like, Jonas finds damage onto this Timbers. He finds another bash on him. But he's going to come out ahead. The Timber should continually come out ahead just because of that Whirling Death, which he's maxing up, and no points in Timber Chain are really needed. This might mean that Alliance could think about making a gank rotation come in, but it's not going to be easy. And Limp level 4 is not going to be able to make that happen anytime soon. We've got Pablo, who's still roaming around in the back. They did spot him with this ward placed. Very nicely done there. And Kefka's over here as well, so they should realize that this is going on. Limp dealing a little bit of damage. Torrent's going to connect. They have the nice little bit as they waveform forward. Hanskin trying to keep the storm alive. They go through one remnant, and oh, Kefka getting body blocked. What? Oh, okay. You killed him. Why would you do it? Now Excalibur jumped through, switching over to Strength Form. Oh, that's a pretty nice one, but he's going to pay for it as well. Clown Town has come around, and Jonas and Fam again. What is his bash chance? How is that a thing? 3 die for Horde, and it looks like they might be able to take down Ake as well. Oh no, yeah, it's all gone wrong. What was that? I mean, again, you got to give value so much to this ward right here. Oh man, Alliance bringing it back for themselves. That was much needed and very well played. And it felt like right there also, Limp, he played that really cool. I don't know what that was. Like the fact that he walked into it and then just allowed them to walk through 2 remnants. Really nicely played there. Pablo, they break the smoke, but not quite in range. He did end up going for that second point in Torrent, which means he doesn't have the range for the X. He is going to find it now. I think it might be too little too late as they brought in Hanskin. Well, maybe they'll be able to find a kill. A nice surge, but Pablo, he's gotten frostbitten, and now Limp has moved in as well. He's not quite level 6, but more than enough to find the kill onto Pablo here, as they do get the slow and now the increased movement speed. And again, this is why I was a little bit concerned about that skill build coming out from the Kunkka. You really need that extra range on your X. Kefka's stealing stacks, and this is a nice thing for him. He's going to be able to TP out as well. Hanskin realizes it, tries to get whatever he can. Limp will be able to steal a good amount as well. But nonetheless, little things here and there that Horde are trying to do to pull themselves back into the game. It's still, though, a very heavy lead for Alliance. 1,000 gold into their favor. I'm waiting to see what Solitude ends up doing with this Timbersaw. He kicks the 2 points now into Whirling Death and is going to start going back for the Timber Chain so he can be active around the map. And this has come off the back of Slardar. Well, he does have a decent amount. He's going to be somewhat harried as far as actually finding his Blink Dagger. That will be difficult for them to get. Level 7 for him. Amp damage continued to be applied onto Solitude. He does not realize, though, that Pablo is behind enemy lines and going for a play. The Torrent is not going to be there. GM spots out Kefka. Frostbite runs away. Yeah, that's going to happen. I will also say that we haven't really seen the pressure be applied from the Drow Ranger lineup. It still needs to be a while before it happens. But Alliance are going to scale incredibly well with this Storm Spirit. Like, for me, he's going to be the best part of it as they catch a really nice Torrent, and that's what you need to do. Oh, Solitude! The turnaround! Jonas! Making it happen! Oh, that was such a great play, but now Hanskin might end up paying for it as well. So he ends up trading the Kunkka, or rather the Timbersaw, for himself, but they find the IO in return. Honestly, Yoshi-san, he's been the MVP for me, as Ake is going to be able to TP out there. Good reaction. They wouldn't have been able to find that kill. Rather, they would have found kill if he was a second later. Top lane, Limp still. Let's turn around with Excalibur a little bit here. The waveform forward. And now, gonna just jump ship for the moment. Limp cannot die. He really, really needs to make sure that that doesn't happen. But like I was saying, he's gonna snowball incredibly hard. Normally for a Storm Spirit, it become a lot harder for him to just be sort of naturally strong. But with these Drow Ranger lineups that give him that extra steroid of damage, he becomes much more of a, as we see Solitude steal some of that stuff as well, a hard-hitting carry much earlier. And now Silence as well going to be able to be applied, and the surge forward, a pretty nice Frostbite though, and they even throw out the Chain Frost. They find the kill. Well played from Horde. EGM is going to get the TP out. Hanskin went for the tether towards him, and a little bit of miscommunication. He did not need to die right there. The IO was not, that was, we'll leave it at that. It wasn't necessary. They are going to spot out this ward though that got placed, so that should get taken down in just a second. In the meantime, Morphling takes the tower in the top lane. Finn Hanskin are here, but they aren't going to be able to find or punish this Excalibur Morphling. In the last game, he just played spectacularly on his Tiny. I'll have to see if he can carry his team again. As mid lane, Jonas is there with Solitude. Does need to be careful as there's Limp and Hanskin in the area as well. They could go onto him if they're not careful. And the thing that I really like about this as we switch over and take a look at the net worth is that Horde, they're not giving up any of these towers for free. This is a lineup from Alliance that wants to be grouping together and making things happen, but they just don't have the sustain right now. And Horde realized this. They're constantly defending towers. Nobody has really been just farming AFK in the jungle. It's constantly been pressure. And even if that means that they die a couple of times, it's not Alliance getting all of that objective gaming gold. So I really like all of the decisions that Horde have been making. Alliance have been playing it pretty well also, and like IO is going to be a force to be reckoned with later with his relocate ganks once he has 6 online. But it's about the best you could have hoped for Horde, particularly against a Drow Ranger lineup that's great at, starting off the game in an advantage. Now, Invis Storm Spirit. It's time to party. And the question is going to be, does Darkseer Kefka move out, put himself in a position where he's going to get killed off? It looks like Limp is going to head out. All right, they still have Electric Vortex on him, though. So if they can find the range. Well, there's a scan from the Dire. So they realize something fishy is up, but they don't know what it is yet. It looks like Kefka will not venture too far forward. Meanwhile, Excalibur gets the amp damage placed onto him by Onus. He's been having a great game. Really impressed with the Slardar play. I mean, some of it is me being impressed with bashes that come through, but I don't know. Nonetheless. Right now, Alliance do not have vision over here. They don't realize what's coming direction, and Hanskin might just get dropped. They're in the area. Solitude goes forward, misses the Chakram, unfortunately, and that they back out. Does not want to overextend and get punished for that. Storm Spirit still a ways away from finishing off his Bloodstone. Doesn't even have his Soul Ring yet. It has been a painful game for him so far. But everybody, as you can see, is about at the same net worth. The big standout is going to be this Morphlane, and that should continue to be the case as long as he doesn't die. Radiant pop the Glyph, and Horde are going to be able to take the tier 1 tower in the bottom lane. And this is never a good sign for a Drow Ranger. And if you are losing your tier 1 before the Dire does, something needs to change it up. And maybe with this Blink Dagger that's soon to be online for the Slardar, that will be what they need. But you can see that all of Horde is grouped up and potentially ready to make something happen. Lich is level 8. And EGM, do they have the vision over here? They have the replicate of the Darkseer that's moving forward and trying to bait him out here. They're going to surge him forward as well. This is a really good play right now. They get the crush. Do they end up committing anything further onto him? It looks like they're going to try and take the fight over to the side. The Drow Ranger was able to get the gust, and they actually did commit for that replicate. I think the Storm Spirit went backing away. So as for now, the Blink Dagger up on the Slardar, and do they have... They realize that the Timbersaw is in the area, but they're not going for him as of yet. Shadow-bladed Drow looking for their clump, and now they're going to be able to go forward onto Kyiv. He should go down here, and yeah, wall dropped as well in the vacuum. Still alive. Load is going to go onto him, but got slowed by that Frost Armor, and can they find something else? So high ground look. CM ulti, oh my god. That was destruction. EGM making the plays, and now Pablo also going to get ran down. Oh my god, CM did so much in that fight, and they are going to be able to take down that Kunkka. Maybe Solitude as well. Oh, Jonas. Spidey senses a tingling. This ward paying dividends. And look at that damage from the CM. Lordy, lordy. Right up there with the rest of those cores. It actually wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be, but nonetheless, not bad in the least bit. EGM making the plays on the CM. All right. Well, that is now brought back to even in terms of experience into the favor of Alliance. They're doing what they need to do, that is for sure. And it does feel kind of weird. You go for that type of play when your Morphling is still relatively weak. I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough decision. They felt like they wanted to go for it. They were strong enough to make the plays happen, but they end up getting punished in the end. That is going to move Limp significantly towards his Bloodstone. Now only needs that booster in the recipe and he'll be good to go. I was thinking that the Frost Armor was going to do more in that fight, but I'm not sure if Ake just didn't have it out on everybody or exactly what was going on. But in the midst of these fights, that is going to be very important. The problem is they just had so much magical damage too. I think CM was a great pick here. And now going to be able to fight with Mechanism as well. This would, like, right here, this would have been the moment that you would want to fight with Horde, but they took the fight just a little bit too early, and they get punished for it. Now, time. Bottom lane is going to be pushed in by Excalibur a bit further, and he wants to finish off that Lincoln Sphere very dearly. Plus side is that you still have just now seen Alliance taking down this tier 1 tower in the top lane. So structural damage, they don't need to be as worried about it as they would be in a normal Drow Ranger lineup because there's this Storm Spirit who's going to scale so well into the late game. But you still want to continue to take those objectives because the timing from Horde and also Morphling's ability to carry a game, it can just get out of hand. So this is the way that Alliance like to play Dota. They just farm up, get their items, eventually hit a nice timing, and just feel comfortable being very efficient around the map. But it does feel like you're kind of sitting on a time bomb with this Morphling.
Центральную башню сил света атакуют.
Limp now. Very close indeed. We might see Alliance try and fight around that Bloodstone timing. Excalibur on the Courier has the recipe for the Bloodstone of the Timbersaw as well as his ultimate orb. He'll take away this creep as well. Storm just eases up for him a little bit. Maybe looking for a relocate gank. They have decent vision over towards the mid lane, and they give a quick little spot now onto the Kunkka. Can they find him, though? Doesn't look like it yet. It's interesting, too, because the Drow Ranger going for the Shadowblade build, it's much less... This is very indicative of what they're trying to do. They're just trying to find the pickoffs. They're not trying to end the game very rapidly. I do worry about if this is going to come back to bite them a little bit later. I love, again, this Frost Armor slowing down the push pretty significantly as They are gonna wrap around Jonas and fam. I don't think anybody realizes this is going on. Do spot out this ward, which Ake is now going to be able to take down. And yeah, he's blink out of there. A fight could be a brewing. Excalibur passes by the Storm Spirit, who has that Bloodstone up and online, creates the replicate, should back out now, I would imagine. Jonas still looking for counter initiation play. They spot out that Pablo is here. They might wait for him to move over to the hard camp. If they do jump on top of him, they can find a kill before Timbersaw gets here, and I think that might be what they try and do. Does he time it just about perfectly? Timber is there as well. This might get a little bit too scary, and now EGM spotted out as well. They're going to move forward with the sprint. Relocate gank is going to come through. Really good reaction by Solitude, though, as they are not going to be able to find him. They do get Pablo, and with the CM ulti, that's going to be more than enough for the kill. But they don't take down Solitude. And with the rest of the side of the Horde coming in, well, the Stomp turns it back around. Now Ake and Excalibur in the area as well. They're still taking damage from Limp. They get the stun out to him. Just a small adaptive strike, though. And it looks like instead they're going to turn on to EGM. They do have the damage to kill him off. The back line, that was a TP away by the Slardar. He's not going to get caught out and killed. So the trade is the CM for the Kunkka. The problem, well, I guess it's not a huge problem. Both sides. So 13 charges apiece. But it goes to show how scary those relocate ganks can be. If Timber had been just a little bit late with that initial chain, I think they go onto him even. Both sides very comfortable. They jump forward onto Kefka. He gets the mechanism off, still fine for the moment. Now the X combo is going to come out. Pablo did not have his boat up as of yet, and Limp's going to jump forward for him. He has a lot of stick charges, but isn't able to get him off. He goes for the boat first, and you can't really blame him for that. He was going to probably go down either way. Now they turn on to Lip, trying to get him down. Jonas is dropped low, but not going to die. So Alliance all over them, just making this work for themselves. Hanskin picks up the DD rune, because why not? And the question is how you take this fight. Oh my god, goes through a ton of damage on the Lip, but a really nice crush as well as the Gust onto Solitude, containing him for the moment. EGM went for the ultimate, but he's going to end up dying from that. And now look through for the chains, trying to bring down one. Handskin tether away. A nice relocate gank out. But now they're turning onto the Slardar. Misses his crush. They've still got the amp damage. Ake's in the area as well. They get the Gust onto Excalibur, so he can't really continue his fight. And the buyback from the CM wants to go into this one. They're going to go after Solitude. The amp damage is there, and the crush is not going to be there quite in time. Solitude just trying to get away, but he is going to have to finally perish. Bloodstone Suicide comes out with the first couple of charges. Not really going to matter. This fight has gone on so long that Pablo has a boat again. If they want to counter initiate, they can go on to EGM one more time. Now the boat Torrent combo does come out. Limp pulled back into the wall, but still the tether away. Hanskin's going to be pulled across the map. They want to try and fight again around Solitude. The adaptive strike finally flies, and they find the kill onto CM. That's a dieback for her. Team fight that never ends. And now, yeah, they're going to call it quits, but I guess Horde into the favor? I don't know. That was weird. That was a really weird fight.
Центральную башню сил света атакуют.
It doesn't seem like either side really wants to back down. They're just sort of going for it. What's the Bloodstone charges at? 16 for the Storm and 11 for Timbersaw. That's the problem here with that fight. I think at the end of the day, you call that a win for Alliance. They probably overextended more than they needed to. Like, EGM, just take a breather, take a chill pill. You got a good freezing field, but you don't need to go all nuts. Maybe it was just like they wanted him back so they'd get the Arcane Aura regen. I don't know. Maybe that was the thing that they wanted, so they could keep fighting. I don't think it was super significant. The fight went on for a long time, but that's only like, what? That's not enough mana to make it worth it in any way, shape, or form. Solitude will pull the creep wave past him.
Центральную башню сил света атакуют.
Now, Jonas, Loda, and EGM looking to find a pick off or a kill for themselves. They do have the relocate gank that can come in from Hanskin and Limp. It's up and online, but... Oh, Blind Torrent didn't even need the X. Where was the X? Still, oh, only level 2. If he hits that X after the Torrent, The kill with the boat. All right, they're moving in towards Roche though, and this is why you pick the Slardar.
Центральную башню сил света
I can't believe how much farm this Slardar has gotten in this game. He has just been on top of it. The fact that he has Blink Force now too, really great. Excalibur is going to try and keep this game under control. He has his Ghost Scepter now and almost E-Blade combo completed. And once that is up and online, I was now already building this cloak though. Yeah, it's not going to do as much as you would want. CM probably also is going to be going for a cloak next, I would imagine. Just a little bit of farming in the jungle while she waits for that. And if you get that cloak up and online, now it's not going to be just an instant get. But I like this decision by Horde also. They continue to move towards Limp because they know that that's where the relocate gank is going to come from. So they don't fight into this lineup and suddenly be caught unawares and have to fight like 4-on-5 or something. And now instead they can go for this. They know that nobody is going to come in to try and help them out, and they can try and instead find the kill onto the Storm Spirit, or at least push out the creep wave against them. This allows Excalibur to be very mobile.
Нижнюю башню сил тьмы атакуют.
We'll see.
Силы тьмы укрепили
The
свои
big problem we
сооружения.
got though is Mr. Loda with the Aegis. They're TPing in.
Нижнюю башню сил тьмы атакуют.
Alone on the top lane is that Timber Saw. Looks like they're just going to hold on. Still nobody really wanting to commit heavily for a team fight. The Lotus Orb now, great for the armor. It's also pretty good for the Gust. I think that's the main reason is Solitude looking for the kill onto Handskin. Limp is there as well. They are TPing in one hero, and Solitude needs to be careful. Limp hits pretty hard. Orchid is not complete yet. And yet, waveform forward, adaptive strike, looking for the kill, trying to zip-zap Zoop away, and is going to get tethered to Handskin. He breaks the tether, though, now, and they kill off the IO. Either a little bit mistimed or miscommunicated, but in either case, nobody should have died there for Alliance. Those things happen, though, in the heat of a team fight, it's understandable, it makes sense.
Нижнюю
You
башню
just let
сил
it go,
тьмы
move on, not the
атакуют.
biggest deal in the world. They did spot out now the Slardar, and he's going to see Kefka. They surge forward the Kunkka. If they can catch an X onto somebody, still, I feel like Kunkka, if you go for, he's going for much more of the damage build, which makes sense. Like, they don't have a ton of damage if one of their heroes gets picked off early. But I just feel like you need this hero to initiate. And like the initiation range from a level 2 X marks the spot is really not that good. And you can make up for it to some extent with Darkseer, but the cores from Alliance are just very mobile. There might have been like maybe 1 or 2 misskills opportunities, but it's fine. At the end of the day, again, it's fine. They're comfortable taking this into the late game with the Morph lane. They want to make sure that Pablo can still be farmed as it goes on. This Limp is going to build into his Orchid. I believe that second Oblivion Staff and soon to be Recipe be completed. Loda has a DD rune. Oh, baby. I mean, the Frost Armor is doing work, but this tower is going to drop. Me, oh my.
Центральную башню сил тьмы атакуют.
Yeah, Horde are not feeling comfortable at this point. It's only a little bit of a lead, but the power spike right now from Alliance, with all of those Bloodstone charges and an Orchid about to be online, this is a frightening time to be a member of the Horde. The Alliance are going to strike back a strong way. Yeah, and there's the cloak like we talked about for CM. Glimmer Cape being saved up for Handskin as well. This is a nice smoke play. They need Kunkka to find it. Now that level 3, I mean, it just increases the range so much. Could have been level 4 by this point, but it doesn't really matter. They find Glip. If they can catch him here, this would be so huge. They have the X-Mark spot combo, they just bring him down. That was very desperately needed. Debuting the E-Blade as well. And now, looking for a secondary fight. Loda is Shadow Bladed. I don't know if they really want to take this. I mean, they don't have E-Blade up for the side of Horde. Well, they will have it back up again. They don't have Boat. They don't catch the Silence either. feel like they're luring them into a bit of a trap. Solitude is amp damage. Kefka still does throw that Ion Shell on top of the Timber Saw. Counter initiation play could come out in a second if they want to. 30 seconds until Boat is up and online. Limp a little bit of an overextension with his Storm. They get the silence on the 2, but the Chain Frost is bouncing, and it doesn't actually do enough damage. EGM on the other side, gonna be able to get off her ulti, and now they jump forward, are gonna be able to find that kill. It did not do as much as they would have wanted. Loda is now also caught by the X, pulls it back in, but a really nice gut. It doesn't matter. Excalibur on top of him eliminates the Drow Ranger. Now the Chakram on top of Loda again. They drop the Sentry Ward, dotting their I's and crossing their T's. Horde said the Alliance were going to strike back. It's the Horde who are doing it. And the Morphling, Excalibur again carrying them. My goodness. That was beautifully done, and they burn through the Aegis, keep on building up those Bloodstone charges, and the fact, I mean, the lone good thing there is that Limp didn't die again. If he would have died a second time right there, that would have been disastrous, but as it stands, he is still a force to be reckoned with. Nothing changed with regard to that. But the problem is now, Horde are starting to be able to actually take these team fights and even group up a little bit, which isn't something you normally say about a Morphling lineup. But with all these other strong team fight heroes, Guardian Greaves online for this Darkseer, they can take these fights consistently. Oh, if they go into Solitude, this is dangerous. Limp is here, he's invisible, but it looks like they're gonna try and chase down the back lines. He's gonna be able to go immediately onto Ake. Kefka's here as well. They don't get off the Guardian Greaves, just off cooldown now, and Limp will be able to escape. So that was nice. I think that team fight goes terribly for Alliance if Limp doesn't make that play. And now he can push out mid a little bit more. So Guardian Greaves just barely not off of cooldown, and they weren't able to save their Lich. Along the top lane, Solitude, he didn't end up going back for more of his mana regeneration items yet, instead just going for the Lotus Orb to allow him to take off those silences, debuffs, everything else that goes on. And the problem with this build that you do sometimes see is that if the Timber happens to die a couple of times in quick succession, then you suddenly don't have the mana regeneration to be a force in the fight. But Solitude's been doing a good job of not dying since those first initial engagements, and it's worked out for them. But a Bloodstone is just inherently one of those snowball items because of the way it works, and they've been playing it about as well as you can. Also now Morphling, after going for the shotgun, is going to be building in towards his Mantis style, which is just going to allow him to have that much more sustainability and survivability within team fights. Loda thinking about going for initiation. They're going to jump now onto Pablo. They get the silence off as well, and no way to stop that. EGM has the Glimmer Cape completed. It's going to try and go for an aggressive ward. Do they spot this? They do not. He's able to get away with it. Now, Roshan respawning relatively soon. This is really great for them too, because you can go for these types of initiations. You see the vision right now from Horde. They can't even see if a Slardar is trying to sneak up on them. So you got to be careful with those moments. Oh, Invis Drow, and thinking about timer is pretty short on Roche. They'll probably go check it. And it looks like it might not be quite respawning by the time they move in there. They're not even really thinking about it right now. Loda wants to party. He's trying to go in for this. As his BKB completed, does a good bit of damage right now. I mean, look at that. 300 a pop.
Hey, where did I go?
Frost Armor doing work in this game for Hake. Invis Solid looking for an opening. They are going to move in and try and take down Roche now. I'd imagine that Horde do have some inkling that this could be happening, and they spot Limp. Are there any sentries? There's a sentry right here. If Solitude gets spotted, this could go disastrously. He's going to go into Pablo instead, but Guardian Greaves keeping him alive. The Lotus Orb also does come out to make him not silenced any longer, and meanwhile there's initiation coming in. A really nice crush as well. Excalibur going down. EGM on the high ground does get broken by the boats. They're a little bit more tanky, and now already they're going to try and jump forward for more, but Hanskin, is he going to go down for it? Doesn't look like it. 2-for-2 exchange already. Stormsphere looking for the kill, catches Kefka. Darkseer does go down, and now Lotus Shadowbladed looking for Solitude. The smoke scare, the counter initiation play is going to be there. Solitude is very tanky, but he's not going to be tanky enough. Silence is taken off too late with that Lotus Orb. And now Alliance should be able to secure themselves a Roshan. Yeah, and that more Bloodstone charges there for the Storm Spirit as well.
Immortality
Oh
is
man,
mine.
this is starting to look like it could be rough. Solitude's going back for Shiva's guard now, I think. That was a really great play there from Limp. And with Aegis now online, he can continue to mount this offensive. And you don't really have the same types of defensive items on the supports to the side of Horde. Like, Kunkka, he's going now, I'm assuming, back for a Force Staff. I think that's what this is eventually going to be. But you look at the items for Alliance and what they're doing, it's all about trying to stay alive in the middle of these team fights. 2 Glimmer Capes. That's just because of that E-Blade combo coming out from the Morphlane. And for Horde, they're trying to build Kunkka into more of like a tanky-ish team fighting type of hero. It could also be Yules for Kunkka. We've seen Kunkka Yules a few times. Can be very strong. But at least for now, Alliance after that fight are going to really continue to build on this advantage. 3,000 experience, right around 4,000 net worth. Any other big guys that are coming up? Drow building towards a butterfly. No, it's pretty good, but it's mainly going to be shotgun and magical damage coming out, which is why the BKB is a greater early pickup for her. It means that like basically Morphling can't just continually kill her in team fights. But I guess it's really good. I think because the illusions for Morphling are going to start to hit pretty hard too. I really like this play also. This is something that we've seen a lot in the Chinese scene also. Basically, you have your off lane and then one other support, which has tended to be Kunkka, hang out in the bottom lane. They basically look like they're going AFK and then they go for a kill, but Kefka is actually going to leave. They won't find him. That Torrent scouting things out, and it looks like they're not going to go for it. It tended to be with the Faceless Void in a Kunkka, was they would go for the kill. It was KP that would do it. Regardless, Excalibur continuing to farm. He has his Mantis style completed now, on top of Lincoln's and the E-Blade. Jump forward, spots out Jonas. He does have his BKB as well. A lot of BKBs online right now for Alliance. And right now, I mean, their hopes of a top 2 finish is on the line. There still will be a 3rd place, 4th place matchup following this game, regardless of what happens. But for now, Jonas, oh man, it's so scary thinking about jumping into that. Like, they can go in from really far away. The initiation range from Storm right now with 16 Bloodstone charges on top of all these other high mana pool items is ridiculous. And now he also has an Arcane Rune, but kind of this awkward situation where you don't want to overextend and end up losing your Slardar here. Alliance feeling comfortable taking this into the later stages, like we were talking about. They're not pressuring this too hard. E-Blade used on an illusion, which is fine. Vision game very much into the favor of the Alliance. Oh, they kill off the courier too. Yeah, there's no way you send that courier out there. That was going to be the Shiva's Guard recipe. Oh man, that was not the play, and now Stormsphere going to jump for it on Pablo. We talked about it, no great way to save him. A good E-Blade though is going to make sure that they can't get the right clicks onto him. So Excalibur saving his teammate. Now the vacuum wall onto 3. Is it going to be enough to follow up? Crush is huge though. And now Limp going for a bit more of a play. They do end up throwing out another adaptive strike onto the Storm Spirit, trying to run away from there. Another good silence comes out. Excalibur wants to go after Loda. He's trying to chase. Limp is going down. He's just getting that extra little bit of separation. They have relocate available, but they don't use it because he has the Aegis, so he's already down once. BKB pop for Loda. They're going to continue the chase. Shadowblade is already there, and Handskin just demolished by Excalibur, trying to find another kill, but the mobile cores from Alliance, as well as that Shadowblade from Loda, keep them alive. Still a very nice fight there for Horde. And it happens like that in an just a huge swell of damage being dealt out. Alliance somewhat reeling after that one. You look at these heroes and the way that they're going to scale into the later stages of the game. Io is always scary, but Kunkka becomes a force to be reckoned with as well. And if he continues to... I mean, if he starts to get some more farm on him, he's going to be hard to deal with. As for right now, the fact that your Morphling has to use the E-Blade to save him really diminishes what the Morphling can do. And now Morphling picks up a Blink Dagger. Talk about mobile cores. He wants to be able to chase. It's interesting. Normally you would see a BKB picked up for a Morph, but this allows him to play much more objective-oriented and also have that initial jump. Like, this is the cool thing now, because he can blink E-Blade from a really close distance, and actually Loda might go down here. They've got everybody in the area looking for the torrent. There's the jump forward. Is going to end up dropping to this. I believe Bolt comes in a little bit too late, and Loda slightly too tanky for that. They can't find the kill. Does reveal the Blink Dagger, but man, that would have been huge if they could have found it. And that's the type of combination that they're looking for now. With a gank available from the IO, they could think about going onto this. The scary Shiva's guard gonna get popped. He gets vision onto everybody. Looking for Kefka, and now we also have the Lotus Orb already thrown out. Kefka's gonna go down. Lip is gonna die also though. Excalibur finding that one. They're getting a lot of damage from EGM. Excalibur trying to run away. He's out of mana though, and now might go down. Can they survive? No. Double for Loda. They lose 3. That relocate gank definitely working out for them. And the big thing was just Storm Spirit being able to get all that vision. That's what I was talking about in game number 1. It's a similar thing when you have this IO play here from Handskin. You want to see how the team fight's developing, and that's what the Shiva's Guard allows you to do. So even though Limp dies there, well worth it. Excuse me while I take a drink of water, because I've been talking nonstop for 40 minutes. Before my voice dies. Alright, Yona, as well as Loda, moving along this top lane. No BKB for 13 seconds. That was a little bit of a push out of the creep wave by Solitude with those to travel online, and still EGM doing a lot in these fights. He's going to have his force staff up relatively shortly. They get the catch on a Loda. Back line, though, Storm Spirit is going to be able to find Ake and healed alive for the moment, but it's not nearly enough. The Guardian Greaves wasn't able to keep him here, and this is what I was talking about with the Storm Spirit in the late game. You got to be concerned with the Drow Ranger lineup, because you saw how hard Drow is hitting. Storm is also doing that. 339 damage a pop. Limp is enormous at this point in the game. And it even turns into a situation where he can start jumping between tier 3 tower to tier 3 tower and just right-clicking it to take it down. And there's not a whole lot that you can do to stop that. With his Lincoln Sphere online, even the Kunkka isn't able to keep him controlled.
Here I am.
Well, Dire scans, suspecting Roshan, but that is not the case. And another Invis rune picked up for Alliance. I feel like that's just been the rune they've been getting over and over again. Another initiation could come shortly. They might opt to go for Excalibur. They maybe do scan this now, and oh, TP's out. There's the crush. All right, switching over to strength for him, and he's going to be able to get out of there. Loda not quite quick enough. Meanwhile, Excalibur dodges. Does he go check to Roche? I think so. He might though. And then when that amp damage wears off, if he goes into there, he can actually almost solo it. It'd be nice if there was like a Vlad's or something else, but be the way to go. Lich level 14 now. He's been hurting so much. Got to get something like a Glimmer Cape onto Ake. I mean, it doesn't mean much, but 178 GPM at this point in the game, and it doesn't really mean all that much, but he's been poor. That's what I'm trying to show there. It's been a hard game for Ake. And the Frost Armor's doing a lot for the rest of his cores, but if he can stay alive somehow, one fight where Ake stays alive, and all of a sudden he has a huge injection of gold. Top lane, Limp and Handskin. They're just hanging out together. And the E-Blade does go through, breaking the Lincoln Sphere. Kunkka is moving in this direction as well. His X marks the spot, not nearly close enough, and it looks like they're scouting out that Roshan is going down. They don't get here quickly enough, though. Yeah, and, well, somebody pick up the... What are you doing? Pick up the agents. That was not the time. One of those moments is a little bit scary. I like the E-Blade, or rather, at least for now, just the Ghost Scepter pickup for Solitude. There's no Diffusal Blades online, or I don't expect there to be either. And that little bit of extra survivability against the Storm Spirit could be what they need to make the switch. Meanwhile, Kefka has also gone back for that play himself. The other side here, Solitude farming in a bit of a scary spot. And it just doesn't feel like they have the vision that they need. This is exactly what happened to Horde, or rather to Alliance in the last game. They got IO'd, and the whole rest of the game they weren't comfortable moving out across the map. I felt like this was going to be a contested hero in this game. I'm surprised that it wasn't just banned out in the first phase each time. Regardless, Timbersaw, large and in charge, and is very far up there in net worth. Slarter's been getting a lot done, but I do feel like this hero does kind of have a ceiling, whereas Darkseer, once you start to get like eventually a sheep stick online for him, which he can build into shortly, the rest of his kit just works well to put this team in a position to win. Loda's hitting from the low ground now. That's going to end up being a tower gone. And now on the other side, they're going for it with Limp too. This is what I was talking about. With this Storm Spirit, you can just play that type of game. And they're going to be able to split them here. Jonas can always go for the counter initiation play with the Blink Crush. And Darkseer is going to sit here with the Replicate to hold the line. This is a nice play by Horde, because now they're expecting that to be the real Darkseer. Kefka's going to throw the Ion Shell on him as well, and if they go for that initiation, there's the Crush. They're going to overcommit for this, and now they can go for the counterplay. Vacuum Wall onto 3, nicely played. BKB pop for Loda the whole time up in the top lane. They're trying to kill off Excalibur here. Limp is going to be able to throw out the long duration stun. EG is doing a decent amount, but ends up getting it broken, and now the right click's going down. He eats the sheets. Is it enough? I don't think so. They end up breaking it immediately. Chain Frost doing work, and now Loda goes down to the Chain Frost, continuing to bounce. Limp maybe an overextension. Aki pops the Ghost Scepter. Fine for the moment. Kefka is going to die. Jonas ends up losing it. Aegis down, and now Pablo, he does have another boat in a while, but I think that they're going to be able to chase this Limp so close to going down there. Solitude wanted it. Another Torrent, and now the Shiva's guard out as well. They're still taking the barracks, though, over here on the other side. Excuse me, that's just the floor plane. I got concerned for a moment. Forgot which side was Radiant, which side was Dire. Lordy, that was a huge win then for Horde. They only ended up losing the one ranged barracks. That's great. Mid lane, Limp trying to man up against Solitude. And the haste rune will keep him safe. Oh, that was nice. Storm actually killed the creeps that the Storm was trying to get to. That was nicely done. Well, just like that, the Horde are back. Alliance, because of how this team fight has gone for a while, it's working well for them, but the Horde show that they can still take a team fight at the very least. The fact that tier 3 towers go down both bottom and top, and they lose the ranged barrack and when they do eventually win them, can march down a lane and take towers really rapidly.
Illusion.
Oh. 13 bloodstone charges on the timber. He has 48 armor with only 5 stacks of reactive. That's an answer. And now EGM going to drop as the X marks the spot comes back. Oh man. 48 minutes in, 27 to 22. You've got E-Blades abound. Excalibur just also doing a good amount of work. I'm a little bit questioning like the Blink Dagger for Excalibur. Eventually this needs to transition something. Why? What is going on? Why is Ake buying the Tomes of Knowledge? This is not supposed to be happening. Solitude, somebody help this guy out. He's got 3,000 net worth at 50 minutes into the game. He should not be buying these. Is he still buying wards too? He probably is. What a selfless player Ake is. He's getting doubled up in net worth by the CM. As a support player, it hurts the soul, that's for sure. Alliance have been doing a great job of shutting down the map control of Horde. Loda potentially can go for another initiation, but Solitude's just so tanky. When he starts getting the reactive armor stacks up too, like what's his physical damage resistance? 70% roughly is where it's floating at. Physical damage resistance. And it helps out a ton. I mean, that's one of the great things about this E-Blade too, is that because your Agi gets boosted up by 40, now you actually have relatively high base agility or base armor as well. Not to mention that that's even before we start talking about frost armor. Well, Sheepstick online for the Storm Spirit is hitting for almost 400 a pop. Limp, the Madman, and could start thinking about going back into Bloodthorn now if he wants to also. It might be a game for it. I think that would be really good. The only other thing that I can think of, it's a very strange one for Alliance, because I mean, it's very reminiscent of how they always end up playing, is that they go into this late stage of taking down the buildings and just focusing the barracks. The problem that I do see is if they end up losing a fight significantly, they just need to play very, very, very conservative. If Alliance don't all get caught out at once, I think that they just win this game through attrition. Because eventually, if one of them can hold high ground against the mounting pressure of Horde, when they lose one or two, then they're in a position where they can go for the counterplay and just go for like tier 4s or something. The only way that I think Alliance lose this game is if Limp goes down and Loda go down at the same time. And if that does happen as the Bloodthorn is finally brought out for Storm, that's where the team fight, that's where the game ends up being lost. Drow also went back for the Ags on top of the Hurricane Pike Butterfly. We haven't seen an MKB, I don't believe, on any of the cores from the Horde. It's just all magical damage. They don't want to even try and contend with that, which I like that answer. The only hero that might, and I mean, Excalibur doesn't want to go for one either. There's no real reason to. He has a butterfly also. I feel like there's just going to be a lot of people hitting each other into high armor, hitting each other into evasion, and nobody's going to die. Like, that's what this is feeling like it's going to come down to. Basically, I think that Alliance and the Horde wanted to make this game epic.
Whoa, what'd I miss?
Well, Pablo, he did go back for the Yule Scepter as well as the Force Staff. And this is the type of play I'm talking about for Limp. He goes in, he does a bit of damage to the tower, he backs out. It is melee, so it's going to regen. But the fact that you pull 2 heroes to come in to deal with him means that now you can push in the bottom lane for low, and that's where they start to deal maybe a little bit of damage to the ranged barracks, which doesn't really, I mean, it doesn't regen, so you can make that happen. Oh my god, what? What? Oh, Handskin, you madman. It's not often that you get to see that. Io is hitting probably significantly harder than the Lich is right now. Yeah, that's a thing. He can just stay on overcharge forever now, I think. Oh, wow. Oh, Alliance, what have you done? Take down Roche. Cheese. Hurricane Pike is dropped, that way Drow can have the Aegis. Last time around when they tried to go for this play, they were a little bit... I think that what happened there in the last Roche attempt was that they were just worried about getting the Aegis picked up quickly, and so Jonas picked it up before the Timber was able to walk in and steal it. And now that they have the Aegis on Drow, this is where you can go for pretty aggressive play, but you have to have the IO with you if you're going to do that. So we might see Handskin wrap around and try and help out the Drow. Everybody's getting farmed except for Ake. They're still forcing him to buy the Tomes of Knowledge. It's a hard life to be a Lich. What can you do? Do they spot the Storm Spirit here? They can. They might break the Lincoln Spirit. Oh, Pablo looking as well. Force Staff forward, but they aren't going to be able to catch him. It's the moment where they need to be careful because bottom lane, Excalibur getting jumped upon. Shiva's guard out as well. Kefka's there. They drop the vacuum wall. Nicely played, but is it going to be enough? EGM on the other side. Glimmercape as well as the ulti, but immediately broken by Ake with the Chain Frost. Silence onto 2. It's going to end up e-blading themselves. So Solitude still alive and tanky in the midst of this fight. Excalibur still back in again as well. They X-marks the spot. Loda, he's taking a lot of damage. They get the counter initiation play there as well from the Slaughter. On the other side, Limp doing a good bit of damage, but not doing anything really to Excalibur. And now Loda is maybe going to go down. They find the kill. A pretty nice whirling death. And on the other side, Limp, Sheep Stick for the moment and trying to bring him down. He's just so damn tanky. Limp, he's going on to Pablo now. I don't think that they can stop him. They can throw out another E-Blade combo, the Adaptive Strike as well. 3 are already gone for Horde, and they get another vacuum from Kefka onto Limp. They pop the Ghost Scepter as well, trying to keep him alive. Kunkka's going to buy back into this fight, and now it looks like Alliance are ready to push again. That Bloodthorn coming in valuable. They break the Lincolns a second time with the Adaptive Strike. Even with the Ion Shell on top of them, even with an E-Blade, they don't do near enough to control this Storm Spirit. He's just a monster. 7,000 gold in the bank right now, and I don't think that they're going to be able to kill him again. Top lane, counter initiation play is going to... They do kill off EGM, but now Pablo potentially food. I don't think Lip really needs to be that concerned. Yeah, they're going to X-mark him, but there's no way. Yeah, Sheep Sticked, and they're maybe going to even think about going again. Bottom lane, they're going to run them around. A very tanky Handskin with his heart, but the BKB has now been popped for Loda. Top lane is still being pushed in by the Storm Spirit. The Ratastic plays are coming out with the kill off Loda. That's actually a huge problem, and now turning their attention on the Limp. Can they kill him? Torrent is not going to connect. A nice zip away from Limp. And suddenly the Sheep Stick onto Kefka. Want to break the Lincolns. Want to get another X mark the spot. They find the Sheep Stick from Kefka. Now turning onto Limp. They have another X mark. Pull him back. The Torrent lifts up. He's gone down. Alliance lose 4. And now Horde, can they make anything happen off of this? I don't think so. Oh, it hurts. 30-27, but they end up losing 2 melee barracks. They have to get something here. Vibe is online for all of Alliance. Those types of plays are what you need, but the problem is that Alliance, well, okay, if the Horde can replicate that after they force some buybacks, then they're going to be in okay position. You know what? I don't think that they want to replicate it. Morphling picked up a rapier. Let's go, boys. It's time to party. We're going to make this happen. Solitude does not hit the tower very hard, but when Morphling picks that little baby up, it's going to be time to go. All right, we're doing this.
Центральную башню сил света атакуют.
Oh, man. The jump forward, he's just trying to kill off the creep wave, but actually missed it. Storm misses the zip TP. He doesn't kill off the creep wave. He literally missed the creep wave, and now Excalibur is here. This is going to be a tier 3 tower going down very rapidly. They jump forward onto Excalibur, switching over to strength form. If Excalibur can live through this, if they can bring down this storm in time, they get to relocate out. Is it far enough, though? All right, there's the waveform back. The jump forward again from Limp. I think he's overextending for this. You gotta be careful. If they get another sheep onto him, he does high. 6-second cooldown on it for the Darkseer. Chainfrost still bouncing. They get another torrent thrown out there, but fine for the moment. Oh, buddy. I mean, you still have so much gold on these cores. Daedalus has now been picked up for Loda. Swing is starting. Solitude, level 25, and ready to kill off these creep waves. They don't care that much about these, though. Most of the heroes, with the exception of Ake, can deal with them. Although Ake is now built into a defensive item. Kind of Ghost Scepter. This is what I was talking about. If he lived through those engagements, man, oh man, though, Pablo taking the damage. No way to save him. Yule Scepter lift up, all right. He saves himself. And Limp blew his whole mana pool on that, so he can't go back in again. He's down to 10 Bloodstone charges, but he has enough other... I mean, 79 mana regeneration per second is pretty absurd. Oh, man. This is so scary. Pablo Blink Dagger now. And Ags picked up for the Darkseer. And with a sheep stick on Timber Saw, they've got one on the Darkseer. It's this late game scenario where normally when you think about a Storm Spirit draft, you don't have a Lion, you don't have any of those hard lockdown disables. It's a problem. It's a serious issue because Storm just kind of goes crazy. But when you get to these later stages, when every hero has so much farm, all of a sudden, he becomes less terrifying. Storm 5-10 minutes ago was much scarier than he is now because they have ways to deal with them. And what is Timbersaw going to go back for now? Octarine Core. I mean, honestly, the lower cooldown on Scythe is almost bigger than and more important than a lot of the other cooldown reductions. Pablo, lift up. He went for the Yule Scepter. They break the Lincolns. X marks the spot is too late. They don't find him. They go back in, but that actually was almost going to be a dead Storm. I mean, it's still a Rapier on Morphling. He's dealing 600 damage per right click. You have to respect that. If he gets controlled for even just a couple of seconds, the Storm Spirit, they're going to be able to find that kill. These seconds until Roshan respawns. I don't know if even that's enough to allow Alliance to take this fight. Break the Lincolns on Excalibur. Gonna TP out. And you can feel, you remember just 10-15 minutes ago when Alliance was playing way up far, they do not feel as comfortable in this game. Alliance clearly still in the lead, both in terms of the amount of buildings taken and net worth, but it's not as easy as it was. I feel like Horde have kind of eclipsed a mark now where they can become somewhat aggressive around the map and make these types of moves. But Alliance realizing it. This was just a nice movement out by Horde again to get some vision. This ward is going to end up mean, probably a pretty big difference. Limp. Oh, they do jump forward. Pablo, they're going to TV boots on top of them. The BKB's now been popped. And meanwhile, the vacuum back onto Limp. His Lincoln's is down, but they get the X. All right, pull him back in. They don't have the sheep stick in time. They're running away inside their base. Alliance, this is not your base. They're taking it, though, and that's going to end up being a dead Limp. All right, now Loda also in trouble. Do not have any vision, and they are going to be able to possibly bring him down. Now Adaptive Strike goes through. That's 2 dead. They did a ton of structural damage in the meantime, but it doesn't matter if they just kill them all off. All right, 3 dead now. Buyback status. They don't have it on Morphling, and they don't have it on CM. So Excalibur does need to be a little bit careful. He'll be able to get it by the time they get to the base. It's time for them to force this out. Over to the side, Solid. Look for the IO. He's going to be able to get the tether TP out. Bonus gets lifted up. They have this vision barely wearing off, and now the BKB is down for Slardar. They are going for tier 4s. Buyback on the 2 cores immediately. Jump forward, sheep stick onto Solitude. Meanwhile, the Bloodthorn comes out onto Pablo. He's starting to drop the turnaround, break the Lincolns of Limp. If Horde are able to do this, this might be their moment where they can make this type of a play. Jump forward, bringing Limp low, not dead as of yet. They're turning onto the tier 4 towers. Excalibur wants to hit it. Buyback onto 2 cores. I don't know if they have the damage to bring him down. All right, the whole side of the Horde is now going to back out. They're just going to be content, at least for the moment, for these towers. But at the same time, the base of the Horde is going down. If Alliance realizes they could TP boots in for it, Excalibur going for the tier 4 towers. Can they bring him down? They jump forward, bringing him very low. Rapier is going to go down on the ground. Can they find it? Solitude is low. Oh, find Rapier on the ground. Nobody's going for it. Kepka's there as well. EGM popping his ulti out. Oh, in the back lines, though, they're taking the base. Excalibur needs to defend it. So the Rapier still on the ground. They only take down the barracks, and now mid, they're in a lot of trouble. This is Mega Creeps. The base is down. Oh, I don't think they can do it anymore. I think that the Horde might have lost this one. Buyback on everybody. They need to hold desperately. And honestly, it makes more sense, I think, almost. Yeah, this is, they can't even get the creeps into there. Buyback, or rather, backdoor protection is already on the Ancient. Oh man, a Horde I think might have overextended, and it was a really good look. It was close to being over. Refresher Orb is now bought on this Darkseer. They need to make this play here. I mean, they've got, what now, double vacuum, not another wall, but they will have double sheep stick. Oh, Aegis is going to get picked up now by Loda. Who has the Rapier? Loda does. Could it be anybody else? But yeah, they are desperate to hold. And I don't know if Alliance are really concerned. They are feeling comfortable the way they're at. They don't want to try and jump in and overextend for this, because Alliance does not have any buybacks. So this is it. If Horde find kills, if they win a team fight with Mega Creeps there, they win the game. They still have one more buyback on the Wisp for Handskin, but it's not impossible for the Horde. They can come back from this. They have a lineup that can do it. It just all comes down to the team fight. And while Drow does do a lot of damage, the other part about this is she doesn't have her BKB. Loda can't drop the Rapier. Can't really drop the Aegis either, obviously. She's going back for and puts all the items in her stash. So if they manage to burst the Drow, which they definitely can with their lineup, that's going to be a Rapier back into Excalibur's pocket. So there's little pieces here and there that make this work for them. Any other big items that are up and online that need to be worried about? I honestly think that right now, Alliance, they don't even try and push this. I think you just wait, you hold for Megas, or you hold with Megas, and you wait until your buybacks are off cooldown. But likewise for Horde, they have to make something happen now. This is the best opportunity they're ever going to get, is during this period of time. Maybe you wait for a second round and like win a team fight when they go in for a second round of buybacks, and then you'll have your Rapier again, if they can win that fight. But even then, I'm not sure if that's the play. 67 minutes in, the Horde are holding, but it is a tenuous hold indeed. And backdoor protection is off. The amount of damage that's being dealt in these fights, I mean, the Ancient's gonna fall so quickly. They have Frost Armor, which they can still throw onto it, and I think that Lich just needs to be spamming that at this point. Yeah, he's already putting it onto his allies and himself, but... And look at this hold right now by Alliance. Drow buys an MKB. I don't know if this is the play. Like, the Ags, even as it is, giving her a little bit more HP, like, if she's able to just go in there and BKB, it would have been one thing, but... I don't know. This feels very bold to me. Like, if Loda can still be bursted, he does have the courier nearby, which will allow him to pick up his BKB. But also, in the middle of a team fight, if you're accidentally... Like, it could accidentally give him his Aghanim Scepter instead. So I think what he's going to do is hope to bring the BKB to him once he comes out of the Aegis. Alright, well, Solitude might be the one that they initiate on first. They really don't want to go onto him if they can help it. And Alliance just not feeling comfortable jumping yet. Buyback status still a minute for cooldown. Oh, and Solitude gets jumped upon. Where's the rest of his team? Silenced as well as Hex. The Kefka wall gets dropped. BKB's been popped for Lit, and now the buyback immediately by the Timbersaw. They pull him back in a second time. The run buff is going to be there. Handskin dropping low, but not dead as of yet. Solitude counter initiation play. Lotus going down. That's one time. Secondary wall gets dropped. They might be able to do this. Lip is out of... He's getting right-clicked by Excalibur. The gem is on the ground, but more importantly, Lotus about to go down with the rapier on the deck. The backdoor protection is already gone. Kefka trying to hold these desperately. They have the rapier again, and Loda is down now for 100 seconds. No buyback. If they can hold right now, they can down mid and make this play. Horde might just have done it. And we said it, no BKB on Loda. He didn't get it brought out to him. Instead, it went, he brought his Aghanim Scepter. And that's exactly what we were talking about. You have the Ags there instead on that slot for the courier. Oh, wait, did he just not pop BKB? Is that what happened? I don't know. He has his BKB back on now. But regardless, just like that, Horde might have fought their way back into this game. You have the Morphlane with the Rapier again. You've got Solitude pushing out this creep lane in the mid lane. 60 seconds still with no Drow Ranger. And I don't know if this is going to work. Limp pops the BKB just to try and stay alive, and they actually break its TP! Ake did it! Limp doesn't have mana! Limp's going down! Oh, the Chain Frost! Ake, did you make the play? Did you win the game? I think you did, boy! Limp, if they can find this kill here, it would be so huge for them! Missing the Timber, trying to just hold out as long as they possibly can, but they've given the Rapier back now. They still are gonna go. Oh, even if it's a base race at this point, I don't think that they have enough damage. With the Slardar and the CM, they're going for the throne. Ladies and gentlemen, I think the Horde might have done it. They pop one of the glyphs. Backdoor protection, they're going in. They get the vacuum back onto the side of the Alliance, and they're trying to find the kill, but it looks like they're going to be able to do it. Horde taking down the Ancient. They win the game. Alliance get destroyed in the end. The Horde have won. The Horde have won. Oh, baby. Could it have been